Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. Thank you so much for joining me. So, what's your cat's name?
Oh, this is Søren, and she just came back from the vet, so she's like extra
Extra.
excited to be involved. But she always likes being involved when there's a camera around.
Gotcha. Well, that's all right. That fits right on in. Um, Alex or Alexander or
Alex is great.
Alex is great. Alex, hi. I'm Donald McDonald, and welcome to No Thanks But Yes. This is a podcast that features chill conversations with absolutely splendid people who have overcome a chaotic relationship with substances via many pathways, diverse faces and voices. And I'm just excited every time someone says yes and comes on board. Well, I found you. Obviously, my family are fans of Blown Away, and in particular, we thought you were about the coolest on there. And then the Christmas episode, you mentioned that you were a person in recovery, and you were raising money for, what was it, Savage Sisters?
Yeah, Savage Sisters. It's run by a friend of mine named Sarah here in Philly, and they just do a lot of good. They have some recovery houses. They do outreach. They do a lot of good work in the area. In my kind of local recovery community. So,
Right on.
yeah.
And they do some harm reduction outreach as well. They seem really, they know what's up. So before we go too far, who the heck are you?
Well, I'll kind of give you the basic rundown. I mean, the professional stuff is I'm an artist and an educator. I live in Philadelphia. Actually, I just started a new job. I'm now I'm the glass studio director at Wheaton Arts, which is in South Jersey. It's in
Yeah.
Millville. So that's kind of, I'm getting used to this more like administrative role after teaching for, I know she's really, she's really extra. But I'm kind of like that too. You know what I mean? It's like there's a camera, I just go. And I don't know. I've been I actually just celebrated 4 years of sobriety from all substances, and in January 29th. So that was kind of exciting. Yeah. And
happy anniversary.
Thank you. And I don't know what else for the kind of the short version. I live and work in Philly. I love it here. It's the longest place I've ever lived in my life. And I make art and I teach, are the main kind of day-to-day things that I do.
My name is Alex. I make art, I teach, and I'm in sustained recovery. And my cat is a little extra today.
That's it. That's it.
Well, I think you're fantastic. And as I said, so Blown Away is that competitive glass blowing competition we saw on Netflix. And that's where I discovered you. And I reached out, and it doesn't always happen, but you were a supremely excessive fellow. You said, sure, I'll come on by.
I love saying, there's a lot of things, but I love saying yes to stuff. I love saying yes to stuff. And I've had a lot of like good experiences, in the last few years, just because of saying yes to stuff, including like the reality TV thing itself.
Yeah.
That was certainly not something that I really had on my like checklist of like what to imagine, for a successful career.
Yeah.
But the opportunity came. Well, I mean, I sought it out, and it turned out to be a really great opportunity.
You said yes. And that was actually the inspiration for my titling this podcast, No Thanks But Yes. We've come to a point where we have the wherewithal, the support, the skills, the tools, the connection to say no thanks to a chaotic relationship with alcohol and drugs. But as we move forward in recovery, find ourselves saying yes to a whole lot of adventure, frightening things, challenges, and I find it enhances my recovery. And you just summed it up. You've been saying
To-
yes.
Totally. I mean, and briefly, just because we're talking about it, that I went on the first season of Blown Away, I think like 6 months sober, kind of really, really fresh, I had been in a rehab and no job, no real kind of prospects. That's why I was like, all right, I'm just going to apply to everything, everything that there is with like this weird skill set that I have, which is either glass blowing or like teaching glass blowing, basically. And that was the first thing that came back. And it was I love that there's this kind of document of me in this really kind of positive, some people call it a pink cloud, but this just very grateful place. I was a great time to go do something like that and have it kind of captured on TV.
And that document exists. That's wonderful. So then nearing 4 years of sustained recovery, the Christmas episode comes about, and you let folks know you're in recovery and you're raising awareness of some strong work going on in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. I mean, and it's, I think I'm a little suspicious of like on reality TV about how everybody's got this like story about kind of overcoming, or like, I don't necessarily want that to be a part of the narrative around like what's being made, but I'm also like, I'm very proud that I'm in recovery. I like that about myself, and it's an important part of my life. So it's not like, when they said that we were going to be doing something for charity, it was obvious that was what it should be.
Yeah. Well, you're a person in recovery, and I ask everyone on here, what does recovery mean to you?
It's a lot. It's a lot of, I mean, it's a lot of stuff of my day-to-day life. I think largely under discussed maybe in kind of the popular representation is a spiritual aspect. I have a spiritual practice that's part of my life that I think is necessary, for keeping what I've got. And part of that is based in service, and part of it is based on little stuff that I do every day to kind of check in with myself and check in with kind of the universe and see if we're jiving together with one another. And there's a fellowship component too. Like there's people that I like and things that I like to do that are all kind of part of this world. I was just on a skiing trip, like a batshit insane. Do we say words like that on this podcast?
Yes,
okay.
we certainly can.
with a bunch of people in recovery, and it was so much fun. And just I don't know. It's funny to think that I met all these people, or all these people have kind of come together through this thing that really doesn't seem fun to deal with initially, you know what I mean? But
Right.
These are all guys like, many of whom like living on the streets, or just really kind of not the kind of guys that I would have thought that I would be hanging out with, And then here we are in a little cabin in the Poconos, riding down the slopes.
Oh man. Well, tell me what you one of my important messages in this series is letting folks know that you did mention, at the outset, recovery is a bit of a challenging space and everything, but we end up having fun with each other and thriving. And so I try to get folks to talk about what they do for kicks. And you talked about this ski trip with your fellowship. And so what else do you do for fun? And this is always a difficult question with folks in the art space. They're like, I'm doing it.
Actually, it's really a good time to be asking that, because especially with kind of this shifting in job stuff, I started teaching less, and I was kind of, I was doing my adjuncting a class or two, and I think I don't know. I guess I was kind of, it sounds bad, but it was more like, I was going to say giving up, but I guess I was letting go of like a previous notion of like career and success and kind of what I wanted to do. And I ended up with lots more time, lots less money, lots more time at first. And I was like, okay, well, maybe like your only source of fulfillment doesn't have to be, some kind of prestige, or like this idea that you had of what your professional life was going to be like. Um, and I shifted and I started going really hard into hobbies. So I have a friend, I really like rock climbing. I think I like all these kind of dangerous and esoteric kind of hobbies. So I
Tell me.
really like rock climbing, and I have like a core group of friends that we trained. They're kind of my age, so it's not like it's over 40 climbing climbing group, but we travel to beautiful places and climb the rocks, and it's it's wonderful. It's like what I've been saying is like it's a way to see a place that you could never see it otherwise, like, or kind of experience a place with your body in kind of a weird way. It's a very, very cool way to travel around. So now when I go, like I was doing an visiting artist gig in Montana, and
Mm,
while I was there, I was working with students, and I was like, all right, guys, come on, somebody here has the climbing stuff. Let's go. And we went and we climbed. It was freezing, it was
yeah.
below freezing, and we went and we climbed on these, um, beautiful, uh, beautiful, beautiful structures, and just like, get a chance to see the place differently, and you meet different people doing it. Um, so that's one. And I like I go surfing down here on the in the down the Jersey Shore with in fact, one of the guys that I really like to go with is a close friend from getting sober in Philadelphia. And he bought a shore place recently, so that's a really good connect.
Awesome.
And so it's a lot of those kinds of things, but I think the thing about it, especially for people that are like new to recovery, is that it's not really just like the activities that are the thing that make it good. It's kind of the quality of the relationships that I have around doing, like, these are all activities that involve other people. And because it's weird. I was thinking about this because I was speaking a bunch in AA around the anniversary recently. And I was like, if I went back in time now and told myself, my previous self, like how my life is going to be good today, I wouldn't believe myself,
Right.
because I didn't know how to like the stuff. I didn't know how to want the stuff that makes my life good now. So it's a really weird thing. I was like, I would look at these people and be like, what do you guys really like, diners a lot and bowling or something like that? Like, that's like, I like drugs,
Ah,
like that's, yeah, bowling is not as good as drugs,
right.
so so it was hard for me to understand that there was something more that makes sense. And I'm trying to figure out ways to kind of better explain it, but
Well, I think you've done a lovely job just now because I know when I was using drugs, the thought of engaging in any activity, no matter how appealing it may seem, without drugs, brought no satisfaction, brought no joy, brought no enthusiasm. But and you speak of these activities not just on their own, but the quality of the connection with the people with whom you are doing it. And I think that's the stuff, is human connection, but authentic and vulnerable human connection. Yeah.
I think, and I think there's something, it might be about me specifically, this like desire for, because like everything that I do kind of requires another person for support. There must be, so like even the glass blowing thing, you don't really blow glass by yourself. Like, you have an assistant, there's this kind of communication and trust, there's a lot of and that's like a big part of what I have to cultivate around that. And the same thing with the climbing stuff, for the big wall. And I like climbing, up high, not on, I mean, I like bouldering too, but I think that's a little, when I was younger, I could do that a little bit more seriously. But, there's another person like tied to the end of this literal lifeline, that you kind of put your trust in. So I don't know, I think about that sometimes, that there's something, looking for these kind of connections where you can kind of rely on another person in a serious way.
Yeah. No, I think you've expressed it very nicely. And there's a canine present.
Yeah,
as well.
that's Franklin.
Franklin. No, we've a much better understanding now the role connection, or rather disconnection, play in our unhealthy relationships with substances and behaviors, and how connection is such an important thing in sustained recovery. And you've just illustrated it for us, and I appreciate that. I always like to end the episodes with some kind of message for folks. If Donald McDonald succeeds in getting millions of viewers eventually, still waiting for this to blow up, what an opportunity. And I always look for a megaphone, but do you have a message for folks out there?
Well, I've got one message that I think is, and I was thinking about it for kind of art specifically, because I've kind of changed the way that I think about it, is I think everybody should do something in their life that's artful. And the other half of it is like, you don't have to be good at it. Like, in fact, don't even try to be good at it if that's not if it's if that's not how it's going, or if there's some concern about that. I think people who do people who make art, makes them happy, makes their life better, and they're kind of better people, and it makes the world a better place. And I don't think I would have believed that, like 5 years ago or so. I think I was kind of like a little more like, let it die, man. Like, I don't want this crap around in the world. But I've been another thing that I've learned from recovery is like getting better at being wrong. So I've been kind of realizing that one lately. So that's kind of on my mind.
Right on. Getting better at being wrong.
I mentioned I do like a 12-step fellowship as part of my recovery now, and there's an amends process there.
Yes.
And I love doing them when I have the opportunity to do them, but they're very like, you get really nervous. It's like this huge kind of visceral thing, and eventually it's like, why is it so horrible and scary? I mean, sometimes it's like you did a horrible thing to somebody and maybe they're going to punch you in the face or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, why is it so scary to just be like, oh yeah, that was wrong. That was me then. I'm trying to not be that way now, but I understand that my thinking was wrong and my actions were wrong. So I don't know. I guess, yeah, you mentioned that. I'm just trying to get better at it.
Yeah, I love it. We could all benefit from that. Great message.
Thanks.
We'll make the world a better place. Well, okay. Thanks a whole bunch. And I'll see you in the funny papers.
Oh man, it was a pleasure. And let me know when it's time, and I'll help, I'll help boost to get that. I don't know if I can hit that 1 million viewers, but like we could, I'll try.